Welcome to Discography, a 5 to 9 podcast where we go through an artist catalogue one album at a time. Series 1 is on Queens of the Stone Age, and we are on to episode 4, after our intro episode and dealing with their debut and rated R. But today, it's Songs for the Deaf. I'm Andrew Belt, 5 to 9 editor, and joining me for this series is Adam Reeve, editor of the Dead Good Music blog and Queens of the Stone Age fan. So, how are we doing, Adam?
Yeah, good. Quite excited to talk about this one because this is the big one, isn't it?
This is the one, yeah. Where I think they really landed on the map of rock music, and clearly they'd built up their stock through the first two albums, and some of the more I don't know, kind of headline grabbing songs such as Feel Good Hit of the Summer, which we spoke about in detail on the last episode. But then we come to Songs for the Deaf, and talking about the lead up to this, one of the big things to note is that you have Dave Grohl on drums, and with his influence on rock music and his last high profile moment with the Styx being with Nirvana, that's you're gonna get eyes on what you're doing when you have Dave Grohl on drums here. Last time out, speaking about rated R, we spoke about the kind of full band setup, and here it's a little different. The kind of foursome which is listed is Josh Homme, of course. We have Nick Oliveri sticking with it and obviously providing his vocals. Dave Grohl drums virtually throughout. And then Mark Lanigan actually becomes a fully listed member of the band here on vocals. So the bassist and drummer we mentioned, who were on Rated R, not making the cut here, albeit, if you're that drummer, then I think you can take solace in knowing who's drumming on this record. Chris Goss again, helping with the production because this time around we have Josh Homme take the reins himself alongside Eric Valentine, but certainly a continuation. And this, it's a big one also in terms of what they create. You've got, without going into the bonus tracks, which we'll leave, it's a 14 track album which is around an hour long, and yet it has this very high esteem in the world of rock music, the world of contemporary music, and they keep up their 2-year release early kind of schedule, I suppose. We had self-titled 98, rated R 2000, and then on August 27th, so Reading Festival weekend, for the first time, Songs for the Deaf arrives. So I'll refer to it again. You'll be 9 now, as we're doing the personal journey of Queens of the Stone Age. You were 5 for the first one, 7 for Rated R, so you're 9 at this point. So how, obviously 2007, and we'll get to it, of course, but it's era vulgaris. That's that era, which is presumably the touch point. So was this maybe the second Queen's album you sort of listened to back to front?
Yeah, absolutely. I think when it comes to beginning my deep dive into the bands, it didn't take long for No One Knows to pop up and Songs for the Deaf to be front and center everywhere. But yeah, probably was the second of their album that I did kind of check out fully.
Mm.
And yeah, what an album to discover.
Yeah, I mean, I was 12 ish at the time, I think, and I was in that world of first of all seeing No One Knows pop up on Kerrang, the video with the band being chased by this deer, just absolute madcap video. Unbelievable song, unbelievable drum fills from Grohl, who joins in the video as well. And safe to say that this was the first Queens of the Stone Age album I bought. In the days of buying CDs and being very selective about which CDs you bought as well. So for me, this was just like, yeah, had to buy it. And then every single which came out again, I'd be watching the video. I think the next one was Go With the Flow, which has a very different vibe with the video. Obviously, none of the members, appearing in it. You got this kind of cartoony, kind of sexy cartoon, I suppose. As that's what it seems to be about. And yeah, that one was the next one, and you're going unbelievable again. Because I think there was a gap actually between like hearing these songs and then getting the album, but it just each time it solidified why I should be doing that. We have First It Giveth was another one of the singles off this album as well. And I think, yeah, just looking at the track list, it was just those three basically. And certainly for my, being quite young as well, listening to this album for the first time, it probably didn't resonate with me as a whole album as it does now. I think you have to be a bit mature for some of the songs on here, and some of them are, thematically pretty heavy going as well. And also, 12 or 13-year-old Mark Lanigan's kind of singing in songs might not be quite where you're at the time. I think again you need a bit of a more mature music head to wrap your ears around that. But yeah, there's just so much going on this album. So I mean, getting into it, and you know, entry point for you, same entry point for me in terms of which song it was with No One Knows, inescapable. But I mean, the rest of the album, what sort of stands out for you with Songs for the Deaf, and how do you see it as a whole?
Oh man, like I think
Where to start?
I just I just think it's just such a like behemoth of an album. Like every song is just I don't know, just so like in your face,
Mm,
like just fully prepared just to knock you out. And um the sort of from the opener alone, I think you think I ain't worth a dollar, but I feel like a millionaire. Like I don't think you're gonna get very many better ways to open an album than that. Um it's the drum intro and then that riff and then like Nick Oliveri's vocals kicking in, like it's just an absolute, I don't know, wall of everything all at once coming at you. Um, and it doesn't really feel like it kind of slows down from there for a very long time into the album. Um, but obviously, you got No One Knows follows up with that, and then even that, even though it's catchy, it's also quite heavy. Um, that kind of style just carries through the album, like with First It Giveth also sounding quite heavy, and then Song for the Dead, it's unbelievably heavy. And hearing it live as a closer,
mm,
like every time I've seen them live, it still sort of blows my mind how massive Song for the Dead sounds.
mm,
Um, and even just the way that each song, especially in the first half, I don't think there's very many that don't go over 3-4 minutes, and yet somehow the album feels like it just flies by.
mm,
Like it's yeah, it's. I've always seen it as an album that, well, I know it's amazing, but it feels like it's doing everything to not appeal to everyone as much as it actually has. Just because of how long the songs are, how heavy the sounds are, and even just the variety and the themes kind of mentioned on the album itself.
Yeah, certainly unconventional, as you say, as a whole, and yeah, maybe if you only know No One Knows, and you're maybe not as quite big into rock music or whatever, or you're a young listener like I was when listening to it for the first time, and like I say, I probably liked half of it, and the rest of it kind of left me a bit cold at that age. But like, returning to it a bit older, I get so much more from it. And obviously this has such a high standing in uh rock music, and yeah, the heavier side of music, and when you hear about top albums of the 21st century, I'm sure this is usually there in terms of the best. Um, but yeah, I'm gonna just quickly fly through some sort of. I mean, I suppose one thing to say is that, of course, this is I say of course, but it's only through reading again the kind of write up about the context of it. But it's going through. It's a car journey basically, so it's a concept album, which I always knew there was all the radio bits, but I just thought that was a quirky element of it. Not didn't realize there was actually a kind of theme running throughout. So that's something to point out here. It's kind of, you know, meeting some interesting characters along the way, and that's why there's these different moments. And I think, as a concept, it works really well because you do have all those different singers. You got Hommy's main vocals, Oliveri cranking it up when things get a little crazier, and Lanigan to bring the darkness ultimately. And there was just so much good here. I think there's only one which maybe doesn't quite reach the high level. Six shooter doesn't for me add so much. That could probably be kept out. But if you remove that, then everything here is, right up there. God Is in the Radio is maybe another one which I think is slightly below the standard set here. But I think we'll quickly run through which songs are our, because there's so, this might be the most we pick in terms of creating our top 20 Queens of the Stone Age playlist. But from this album, which and just a final holistic comment I'll just sort of say is that I think this takes them into the big leagues, really. The first two albums, they're still finding their way. Here, they've just gone, this is our
Yeah,
jamboree party. We're bringing everything into the mix. We've got Grohl bringing unbelievable drumming, and suddenly you're like, they've arrived with this album, and it is an
yeah,
absolute classic.
absolutely.
So the hard question is, which songs are gonna be there come the final reckoning of the top 20 Queens of the Stone Age tracks for you?
Man. So I think No One Knows and Go with the Flow, definite certs, I think. Um, Millionaire as well, and Song for the Dead. Um, Man, it feels mad just to limit it to four, but
Gonna go for
yeah, I'll stick with four. I was thinking maybe do it again, but in that's on the maybe pile, I'd say.
okay. So I'll quickly run through mine. Song for the Deaf and Go with the Flow and The Sky is Falling are the three absolute certs for me. And then also going through on the long list, No One Knows, of course. First It Giveth, Song for the Dead. Yeah, I think I've said about seven there. So they're my ones. Millionaire being not quite there on my one, I suppose. So that is Song for the Deaf. And next we have Lullabies to Paralyze in this series. You can stay up to date with what we're up to. 5 to 9, Instagram, YouTube, Dead Good Music blog on @Dead Good Music _. And yeah, that's us done for that behemoth of an album. Thanks for listening.